there, we are here at Treehouse Wildlife Center, and I'm here with Rachel Heaton.
Hello.
She is an animal care staff person here at Treehouse, and we are standing in front of the bald eagle cages. So I am going to turn it over to Rachel to tell us a little bit more about the bald eagles that you have here.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so we've got about 5 bald eagles here in our enclosure here. As you can see, hopefully down there, we've got Spuds and Hope, and both of them here are here for wing injuries. So Spuds actually lost part of her wing to a power line strike, versus Hope, who actually lost her wing to being illegally shot in the wing. So they're all here for different types of wing injuries, and we're providing them a permanent home. So bald eagles are really cool. Of course, they're our national animal, so they represent like bravery and courage and all those things we love that makes us think of our country. But they're also really, really big. They've got a 6-foot wingspan, and you might think they're really heavy, and perhaps for a bird they are, but they weigh maybe at most 15 pounds. And they love to eat fish. That's probably one of their favorite foods. But of course, they don't mind occasionally trying other things and out there as well.
So let me ask you, Rachel, when we walked up to the enclosure, they're making these crazy sounds. So why are they doing that? And is this something that they do in the wild to talk to each other? Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So Spuds is the one making the most noise out here, and she's our oldest bird, actually. She's been here since 1988.
Oh, wow.
And so she's the queen, and she's making sure everybody knows that. She makes sure the other eagles know that. She makes sure all our guests know that. She's making sure we know that. So yeah, in the wild, they'll often communicate with each other, across long distances. And for her, what she's doing is, I'm the queen, this is my territory type of call. And sometimes, of course, they'll just call for the fun of it. Why not?
What about the beak and the feet of eagles? Tell us a little bit more about how they might be unique to an eagle, or if they're the same as other birds of prey.
Yeah, very good. So birds of prey in general have very strong feet. They've got these big claws called talons. In fact, if you think of great horned owl, I know off the top of my head, has like a 500 pound per square inch force. So think about 500 pounds of crushing power in their legs. Now that doesn't mean, of course, that they can pick up and fly off with 500 pounds. It just means they have the crushing power of 500 pounds. So eagles, I'm sure, are probably not far from that, because they're similar size, a little bit bigger than a great horn. What they do then is when they're flying and looking for a fish, and they can see really far, I mean, they can see almost like a mile away where the fish is, and they'll swoop down and they'll grab that fish with their talons, and then they'll fly off to maybe a tree or the bank or wherever, and then they'll use their beak almost like a knife, like we use a knife when we're cutting up our steak. And that helps them to tear up their food while they're eating with it. So you notice the bald eagle has this real broad beak, a little bit different from the golden eagle. That's just a tiny bit smaller to their face. So that's one thing to look for. They've got those bright yellow beak and bright yellow legs, but when they're younger, their beak's actually a darker color. So that's something to look for.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Now let's go look at some other birds of prey. Well, that was awesome. We just got to hear from our next bird character. This guy is
He's a great horned owl.
He's a creature of the night.
Yes.
A great horned owl. So Rachel, tell us a little bit about this great horned owl.
Yeah, so this is Albert, and Albert's actually been with us, I believe, since 1996. He was brought in by someone who found him as a baby, and they were trying to do the right thing. They tried to raise him so that they could release him into the wild, but unfortunately he didn't have a very good diet, so he actually can't fly anymore because he didn't have enough calcium in his diet, so his bones never developed quite properly. But he's a really cool bird. He likes to show off for us. As you can see, he's giving us a little show here. So again, Albert's a great horned owl, and how you can identify them is by those big horns as you see on the top of his head. They're not actually horns, they're like feather tufts, and he can raise them and lower them depending on how he's feeling. He's also got those big bright yellow eyes. And if you pay real close attention, you'll notice his eyes actually just stay stuck in a forward position. They don't move around like ours do. And this helps them really to see well in the dark. So they can just really tunnel in on what they're looking at. So instead of moving around their eyes, they can move their head about 270 degrees. That would be like us looking over our other shoulder if we try to turn around. Cool. It's quite incredible. And they can do that because they have like 14 bones in their neck when we only have 7. Wow. So really cool fact about these guys, they actually have a terrible sense of smell. And because of that, they don't mind eating a very stinky critter out there, the skunk.
Ew. Yuck. So how would we, if we were listening at night and we heard owls, how could we tell this guy from a barred owl?
So that's a good question. So the great horned owls seem to always have this kind of steady, quieter hoot that you're hearing now. They don't have quite a variety of calls as the barred owl. So this one is the male. He's got a shorter call. A female has a slightly longer call. And that's really the main call they have. So once you get used to hearing that, you'll know that's a great horn. Barred owls, on the other hand, much longer call, much different variety of calls. Very, very vocal. I would say they're even louder than a great horned owl. And when a barred owl calls, it sounds like they're saying, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" So a lot of notes, very long. But barred owls can also make other sounds that some people say sounds like a monkey.
Oh.
Okay. So I've had people actually call Treehouse going, "There's a monkey." And I tell them, "Oh, you've got barred owls in your woods."
Awesome. He's talking to us there.
Thank you so much, Albert.
All right, let's go find another bird to look at. All right, we are here again with another bird species here at Treehouse, and Rachel's going to tell us a little bit more about this turkey vulture.
Yeah, so this is, like you said, a turkey vulture. This is Einstein. So Einstein came to us in 2011. She was found basically running around on the ground chasing after people. So we think maybe someone tried to raise her because she identifies with people and not with other birds. So we call that human imprinting. So that's why she's right up close here with us, because turkey vultures are social animals. So they want to be around their own kind, and well, she thinks we're her own kind. So turkey vultures are really cool animals. Sometimes they get mistaken with eagles because they both have a 6-foot wingspan. But the turkey vulture flies a little bit differently. It has its wings up in a V shape. So V for vulture versus, yeah, the bald eagle is more straight across, almost like an airplane. But the bald eagle, again, weighs a lot more than a turkey vulture. The bald eagle, maybe weighs, 10 to 15 pounds depending on the eagle. These guys are going to be a lot smaller, maybe more in the 3-pound range. So now, if you ever see a turkey vulture in the wild, of course, a lot of people don't like them because they've got this red head and bald head and these black feathers, and they look scary, but they're actually really cool. They're like nature's garbage truck. They look around smelling for dead stuff, and they go and they clean it up. So without them, there'd be a bunch of dead stuff everywhere. But don't walk up to them after they've eaten, because if you do scare them, they won't attack you or anything, but they may throw up on you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And let me tell you, it smells awful.
I bet so.
So I wouldn't recommend it. So definitely give these guys some space if you see them out there, and let them do their jobs. Another interesting fact about them is that they get too hot, they like to pee down their legs.
Really?
And it's said to also help clean their legs after they've been walking through a dead animal. So that's quite a fascinating fact. Another thing that people think is very gross about them. But despite all those gross things, they're actually highly intelligent. Einstein got her name because we had a parrot trainer come work with her, and within an hour, she knew how to follow a target stick around her enclosure, and she would fly from perch to perch for us.
Oh, wow.
And that trainer said it would normally take a parrot a lot longer to learn that, so maybe Einstein was just very eager that day, but she definitely picked up on that really quickly. So they're highly intelligent animals.
So tell us about their flight, because on some days I've heard that it takes a little bit of wind before they get up really high and they're soaring in the air. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so that's what you'll often see them doing when they're out flying. You'll notice them circling a lot. So a lot of times they're riding those thermals. that's in the atmosphere. So they'll pick up those thermals and they'll just slowly ride it up and up and up in this upward circle motion. And then they'll get real, real high, and that allows them to, go as far as they want to in whatever direction. A lot of birds actually do that. I've seen pelicans do that as well, where they'll fly up the thermals. So that's that air pattern that they're catching. So it's just the most efficient way to fly. I always say that turkey vultures are lazy flyers compared to an eagle, for instance. So they definitely like to take advantage of those weather patterns. Whereas eagles, I feel like when you see them fly, like I said, they're like an airplane shooting across the sky, going where they're going. But these guys definitely take it easy up there.
Cool.
And she's gonna check you out.
She is checking me out. I want to touch you. I want to touch
We'll
you.
be friends.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel,
Yeah, no
for
problem.
telling us more about a few of the different bird species that they have here at Treehouse. Make sure you go and check out Treehouse online. They're always looking for donations to help upkeep their facilities and provide educational programs. So we'll say bye to Einstein today, and we'll talk to you another time.